My name is Yegor Zbatovs, or Yegor Batov, and I am technical architect at ScandiPWA. Pleased to meet you here, and welcome to my little presentation about the latest advancements in the ScandiPWA JavaScript Toolkit, which is now available for any project, not only for ScandiPWA powered themes, and that's called Mosaic. Without further ado, let's dig a bit deeper into that. First of all, what actually is Mosaic? Let's take a step back. For quite some time already, we at Team ScandiPWA have been implementing all kinds of new things for the JavaScript world in order to be able to provide you the extensibility functionality that is so necessary in our ScandiPWA theme. And that is now a crucial part of the developer experience when developing a ScandiPWA theme. Of course, by this functionality, I mean all kinds of stuff that make you be able to write additional logic for existing ScandiPWA projects. All of these things you see on the screen, basically. The ScandiPWA plugin system that allows you putting a namespace on any part of functionality in your app and modifying the behavior of that part of functionality of your app. The ScandiPWA part themes, which can stack onto each other limitlessly and overwrite anything in each other. And the ScandiPWA build configuration plugins among them, which allow you to connect new preprocessors and override Babel and Webpack functionality in way possible in any way you want. These things exist in ScandiPWA for your convenience for quite some time already. What is new here? The new thing here is that now these things not only exist in ScandiPWA and within ScandiPWA, and are not only related to ecom. Now you can use any of these features in your projects not related to ScandiPWA whatsoever. And not only even to front-end projects, not only even to React projects, just for anything you want. Awesome, right? These functionality features that you see now on the screen are familiar to you. What's new? New, of course, is Next.js support. Next.js, as you might know, is a server-side rendering framework for React, which allows for somehow different developer experience with React and different user experience with the application as well. It's one of the most popular server-side rendering React frameworks in the world right now, and we couldn't have not provided a support for that. So now it is available in the Mosaic, and you can write a Next.js project with all of your favorite features like the plugin system and the file override system and all of that. We have, and I will show you this later on. Also, we have node support for people who are willing to write the backend project using our plugin system or override functionality. And we have a new awesome documentation resource that we will dig a bit deeper into later on. Why would you need to use Mosaic when developing a new project of your own? Of course, due to all of the reasons of developer experience, all of the details of the developer experience that make it pleasant for you when working with ScandiPWA, and which make possible using ScandiPWA for such huge extensibility opportunities. Why use Mosaic? Of course, for its extensibility, for its ability to write completely modular stuff. I will show you a bit more about that later on. We call that micro frontends, with it right or not, for you to decide. Easier changes, extensibility planning, integrations stored alongside implementation, all of these features which have been available in I don't even know where until now are available in the Mosaic framework, which is available open source and available for download for free. Think about that. How can you use Mosaic to implement modular projects? Let's take a look at a few of our use cases. We at Team ScandiPWA have implemented 2 projects which are currently open source. The first one is, of course, Shopify, and the second one is ScandiPWA. Both of these projects are written in such a modular paradigm. Both of these projects are, as you could tell by taking a look at that, mono repositories. Here you have a lot of packages which require one another, and here in this other Shopify PWA, we have the same situation in the packages directory. Let's for now focus on Shopify/packages. What can we see here? Here we can see that we have one blank theme, and in this blank theme, we actually don't have anything. We have an index.js, which imports some framework, and that's it. How do we get all of the awesome functionality this project offers us? Let me show you something. Let me show you, for example, the collections page. That now looks like that. Don't be afraid of that. Nothing has broken. It's just a blank theme for the Shopify backend framework, which fetches data and displays it in a very simplistic way. Yeah, how does it work? Basically, we have a chain. We have a network of modules. Not here. We have a network of modules that interact with each other, and each module has its integration stored within itself. For example, if we go to the Shopify Collections, by the way, this project is written in Next.js. When we go to the Shopify Collections, what do we see? We see some kind of a file structure similar to what we have at ScandiPWA. We see a source directory in which we see a component directory and the plugin directory. Where do we plug into? What do we plug into? We plug into the router, of course, and we plug into the router once again. I might be wrong. I don't think this is a Next.js project, but that's all right. This one that completes the Shopify PWA. So we just plug into the router as we would do if we were writing a plugin for the ScandiPWA, and we add an additional route there. And all of the logic of this route is stored within this module itself. Of course, we have a component here with all of the collection-related stuff, and we have an API there with all of the necessary things for data fetching and processing. How awesome is that? It's just like an extension. All of the functionality related to it, even the usages of that functionality, are stored within the module itself. And it's quite convenient to maintain like this. When you write such modular modules, the thing you're thinking about is not only how to extend them, but how to make them independent, how to make them not break without the extensions. And that makes your application quite stable and hard to break by disabling some of the modules. Let's take a look at the second project, which might be a bit newer to your eye, ScandiPWA/ShopWare/PWA. What do we have here? Here, of course, we have the same packages directory, but this project has a Next.js version. Let's take a look at that. I think the master is a Next.js version for now. Packages, blank theme. Let's take a look at this. Package JSON. What do we see here? We see Next.js scripts, not just Next, but Next.js scripts, which is our package, which is a wrapper around Next.js. Dev or build or start. Basically, that means that this project is definitely powered by Next.js. And you can see that all of the extensions are enabled here just as they are in ScandiPWA, by the only difference that we write Mosaic here now instead of ScandiPWA. Although ScandiPWA is also supported, but probably you wouldn't like to write ScandiPWA in the projects not actually related to ScandiPWA. This functionality, by functionality I mean of course plugins and overrides, are now features of Mosaic. Hence, let's use Mosaic. Yeah, this project is powered by Next.js completely, and it is also written in such a modular manner. Each module contains its integrations to all of the other modules, and all of the functionality necessary for this module. So if I'd like to change something in the CMS module, I'll just go into the CMS here and take a look, where is it used, how is it written, etc. Probably this is an exception. I don't see how is it used because probably the integration of this module has been moved to the separate module, CMS product, which of course has a plugin directory in order to interact with the plugin, with the product module somehow. You get the point. Each piece of functionality is modular. It's very easy to find something when you want to modify something. You want to modify a category, go to the category. You want to modify products of the category, go to category product. You want to modify a CMS of the category, go to category CMS. You want to modify the cart, go to the cart module. As easy as that. And you see every usages of that. So when you modify something, you're sure where to look for the dependencies of that module. Very cool, very convenient. We have tested that. We recommend this to try out to you. Of course, we are very proud of such an approach of writing new projects, especially when you might want to make something extensible and open for the plugins. This is an ideal thing by our opinion. We took a look at two of these projects. Let's take a look at the repository of the Mosaic itself. Here we can see the core of the Mosaic. We have a lot of packages there. It's a mono repository as well. We have the core, the integration with all of the integrations with the technologies, CRA scripts for Create React App projects, Node.js scripts for the Next.js projects, Node scripts for Node.js projects. We have sample packages directory specifically for you in order for you to float into this world of Mosaic slowly and gently by using our sample example packages, which are working properly and which are configured properly in order to get acknowledged with the world of Next.js. Here you can see 6 examples of what you can do with Mosaic. You can write a Next project, you can write a TypeScript application, TypeScript supported partial for now. There are some caveats in that related to types extensibility that we have not solved yet, but theoretically, it is possible to use with TypeScript. The question is how convenient is that? But you can definitely use TypeScript for parent themes and JavaScript for the child themes. We have an external extension here. We have a storybook integration here and a Webpack application, which is just a simple Node app. Here, we will go through them in a few minutes. Let's check our awesome documentation. Here we have it. Basically, the documentation contains all of the information you might need in order to get acknowledged with the Mosaic technology. It contains all of the examples, both for the parent themes, for the plugin system, for the Next.js features, for the Create React App specific features, for everything you might know about Mosaic. Everything is here. docs.mosaic.js.org. Yes, we now have a js.org namespace. Cool, right? We also have a landing, but that's not that important for now. I think you might find that from our documentation. Can you? I believe so. Maybe not, but it's quite intuitive. You just remove docs from here, and it's mosaic.js.org with all of our ideas about Mosaic. Why is it cool? Because it allows you to invert control. You have a module that injects itself into the application, not the application pulling from the module from different sites. You can use the module preference. You can use file shadowing like in Gatsby.js and like in ScandiPWA, of course. We have reviews, etc., etc., etc. So we're running short on time. Let's see how that works in action. Here I have, let's clear that. Here I have a repository of Mosaic. Let's make sure that everything is installed properly as it should be. And let's go through the sample packages in order to get to know what Mosaic actually is. So first of all, let's go to the sample packages and let's go to the React app to see what's there inside. YS is my alias for yarn start. So now I have just started the project. Here, you see something not really pretty, but very functional. Basically, you see the functionality from the parent team, the functionality from the child team, the plugin which has been inherited, and the plugin which is on the actual child theme. The project looks like this. It is basically a Create React app project, a bit modified for our needs, a Create React project with replaced functionality. So here you can see that we have a class app which extends parent app just like in ScandiPWA and overrides some method of the parent app. In the parent app, of course, we have, wow, it's written in TypeScript. Cool, right? We have this functionality that is responsible for this. In the parent packages, we have an extension that is responsible for rendering this inherited namespace plugin here. And we have a child theme functionality, which looks very similarly to what we just saw. Here we have this for the child theme. And here we have this for the parent theme, the red border. Very cool, right? So everything works just as it works in ScandiPWA. And it provides you with all of the functionality that you are used to when working in ScandiPWA. So what's additional to that? Of course, testing functionality. Jest has been configured to work with our plugin system. Let's take a look at how we write tests with that. Ignore the ESLint warnings here. I'm sorry for that. Basically, what we do here, it's a test for the plugin that wraps the application into the red border. Yeah, it's done by plugin here, under plugin. This is the style. The red border that you see here. What should be done? We set the plugins manually in order not for all of the application's plugins to be discovered, but to test just this specific one. We set the plugin that we want to test for the Mosaic so that Mosaic consumes it and knows that the plugins are discovered in this module. We pass the whole module there, be it ES6 module or not ES6 module, it will work. Then we render the application, of course, and we try to use all of the Jest functionality that's been provided with Jest for quite some time already. And we see that it works just fine. Let's launch some tests, yarn tests. And we see that Jest works just as it should work and runs all of the tests pass. Of course, our applications are working properly. That's the new thing. You can see a build configuration plugin here, which does nothing, but that's how it works. It is declared here in the package Json as build configuration plugin. Where is that? Probably not here. Probably it's not active, but it might be. Oh no, it's enabled here in that package Json as an extension, but it actually declares a build configuration plugin here. It says that, yeah, we have this build configuration plugin in this extension and build config/plugin.js. And here we can do anything we want, both with Webpack config and with Babel config, especially in Create React App projects. And we will be just fine with this. Then, what can I show you next? I'm running out of time, but I hope that I will manage to show you my Next.js project. Let's take a look at that. Yarn dev. In Next.js, we have a bit of additional features. We have an abstraction around router, which you might use in order to store your routes right within your modules and not be tied to the pages directory of Next.js. You might also write styles just as you do in ScandiPWA by putting the style files right into your components. Where can we find that? I think it's not here, but rather here. Yeah, of course, here's page component, here is page style module CSS, here's page global CSS. Both of these guys work. We support CSS natively for Next.js. And yeah, we see that the Next.js page gets rendered properly And the sample page, how is it declared? We just go to next pages, sample, and say that it's a server package. More about that is written in our documentation. The thing I'm interested in here is this slug here. When we go to the sample, we see this, I am a page, which is, of course, the truth. Yeah. Here's everything you need to know for now about the Next.js support. If you want to try it out, just go to our documentation. Everything is described there, even more clear than I have just told you. Yep, nothing basically to see in the Webpack app. It's a simple node project that gets compiled with Mosaic. And basically, that's kind of it for now. We have taken a look at all of the functionality that I was willing to show you. Thank you very much for your time and for your attention, and I hope to see you on the next ScandiPWA meetup. Probably we'll have something more to tell you. Have a nice day, or evening, or night, and goodbye.
And
hello,
yeah. Page is Yegor. Hello, hello.
Hi.
So let's kick off with some questions with your presentation. We will have some coming in from the chat. You guys can ask any question that is particular interest of you for Yegor's. And I will start off with something that I have from my side. Could you tell me what benefits does the project development workflow can gain from Mosaic?
Right. So basically, Mosaic allows you to develop an app in a very modular manner, a front-end app in a very modular manner. And this makes the process go more in parallel. If you have different developers working on different parts of an application, it's easier to handle than it would be in a project that does not use Mosaic. Of course, in such a manner, the project development workflow becomes faster and the modules themselves become more stable, because I've mentioned before that they contain their integrations within the modules itself. So when you're modifying something in a module, you're absolutely 100% certain where to check for the possible impact of your changes. Of course, as well as that, the project becomes extensible because you have a plugin system, the ScandiPWA plugin system, basically in your project, in your application, and you can write plugins for that, for everything that you want to. Just look at how that works in ScandiPWA, and yeah, that's how it will be.
Right. Okay, that's really interesting. And how exactly is Mosaic functionality different from the mechanisms that we have in ScandiPWA?
Basically, Mosaic contains all of the mechanisms that we had in ScandiPWA, not directly related to ecom, but more related to development experience, to development approaches that we used in ScandiPWA frontend. It contains all of them. Almost none of them are modified. So we made some APIs stable in terms of plugin mechanism, but we have absolutely the same parenting mechanism as in the latest ScandiPWA versions. The plugin mechanism in general approaches is absolutely the same as well. And the additional functionality that's been added, of course, it's the Next.js support, the Next.js specific features, and Node.js support, which an example of which can be found in the Mosaics repository in the Webpack app directory. Basically, when talking about Node.js support, of course, I mean that we build any JavaScript project with Mosaic, and it becomes extensible. It can be written in modules, etc., etc.
Okay. How can one get some more insights on how exactly Mosaic works?
Well, basically, we have it described in several places. The first place where to look at, of course, is the documentation. It contains information both about the usages of this technology and how to use it, and about how it works internally. The APIs that Mosaic provides and that Mosaic uses internally are described there in order for people to be able to use it without Babel. But yeah, they're described there. And the second place where to look at, of course, is the Mosaics repository. We have a pretty clear contribution guide which describes what what specifically each module of the Mosaic Modular repository is responsible for. And within this modules is stored even more documentation about what do these modules do and how to interact with them. Basically, if you want to understand specifically, deeply how Mosaic works, we have all of the information in the Mosaic itself, right inside of it.
All right. Let's see, do we have any questions from the audience for you? Because that was quite an extensive and elaborative presentation that you had there, and it was really nice and interesting to listen to how these things come together and then how do we implement them.
Thank you. Nice to hear that.
So we have it in the Q&A session. Okay. So let's see, for example, for this one, we see that Stefan has told that there are a lot of issues from the version to version, and there is no stable version. Are you planning to create a stable branch 100% functional sometime soon?
Are you sure that's a question for me? I see that it's 43 minutes ago, and I believe my presentation is only 20.
That was the one was posted before, but do you have any information on that you could share? Do we have something?
What is this question in relation to? ScandiPWA or Mosaic?
It's with ScandiPWA.
ScandiPWA. All right. I don't have information regarding this question for now. I think it's more for the core team Q&A session that's going to take time a bit later today.
Yeah, that's happening from 4 to 5, so that's the one to keep in mind. And what about the second one that we have there, which was at the very beginning? Maybe you can tell us something about what would you recommend personally, building a Magento theme or a standalone storefront, and what is the difference between them?
A Magento theme or a standalone storefront? Well, here at ScandiPWA, usually when something needs to be put from the Magento directly to the templates, for example, of the theme you're building, we use the Magento themes. And basically with Magento, we tend to use Magento themes, though the storefront functionality of ScandiPWA makes the development process of these Magento themes very much easier, because you might not even have a Magento instance running locally on your machine. You might use a remote Magento instance for that. And that's why the front-end developers can be not involved with Magento at all and just develop their React functionality, treating their Magento theme as a storefront. It very depends on the use case that you are seeking to implement, but implementing any of these use cases is usually easier with the storefront mode.
All right. Well, then I think that is it for today, and very much thank you for both the presentation and the Q&A session that you provided for us. It was very insightful, and then we see you in the live Q&A starting from 4, correct?
Right. See you later. Thank you for the opportunity. Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Have a nice day.